Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge into the knowledge you need.
Ready to dive in.
So today we're talking about something a lot of you might be thinking about, launching your own business, specifically trucking.
Yeah, that dream of being your own boss, hitting the open road, building something, it's powerful.
It really is that freedom, setting your own schedule.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real. As exciting as that sounds, the actual road, well, it isn't always smooth sailing. Or smooth driving, I guess.
Oh, right. A lot of new trucking startups, even with great drivers and real dedication, they hit these potholes pretty early on.
Exactly. And it's often not about lack of skill or hard work. It's more about, well, not seeing some common mistakes coming down the highway.
And that is exactly why we're doing this deep dive. We want to give you a shortcut, basically. Help you understand and, maybe more importantly, avoid these common slip-ups. We're digging into the top 10 mistakes trucking startups make, based on our source, Navigating the Road to Trucking Success. The idea is to give you the brain power you need, not just the horsepower.
Yeah. And that source, it's really practical. It
Yeah.
doesn't just list the problems. It gives you actual, concrete steps to prevent them.
Like a good co-pilot.
Exactly. Helping you chart a smoother course from day one.
Okay, so let's get into it. Mistake number 1, and this feels pretty fundamental, starting without a business plan.
Oh, yeah. Foundational.
The source says it's like driving cross-country with no GPS. You might get somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. But probably not where you intended,
Yeah.
right? And definitely not efficiently.
So what does that really mean for a new trucker? No plan.
Well, how do you even know if you're succeeding? Or, what changes to make if things aren't working? A business plan, even a simple one, it's your roadmap. It needs to lay out your services, who your customers are going to be, how you'll price things, and critically, what are your costs?
Yeah.
Startup costs, ongoing costs, and what's your profit goal? It forces you to think it all through.
Thinking it through, that leads right into mistake number 2, skipping the essential legal stuff.
Big one.
Because trucking is, it's super regulated, isn't it? You can't just buy a truck and go.
Absolutely not. Ignoring the licenses, the permits, the insurance, that can mean huge fines. Or worse, getting shut down before you even really start.
So what are we talking about here? What are the absolute must-haves?
Okay, so before you even turn the key, you need things like a DOT number. That's your Department of Transportation ID here in the U.S. Then there's your MC number, your Motor Carrier Authority, lets you haul goods for hire across state lines.
Gotcha. Interstate stuff.
Right. And then CDLs for drivers, obviously, vehicle registration, and the right insurance cargo liability. It's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, the source even suggests maybe hiring a compliance consultant if it feels like too much. That tells you how crucial and complex it is. Get this right from the start.
Getting it right financially, too. Which brings us to mistake number 3. Underestimating startup costs. Because it's not just the permits, right? Those costs add up fast.
Oh, incredibly fast. People think, okay, I need a truck. But then there's fuel, insurance premiums, maintenance, repairs, tires, tolls, maybe driver wages. The list just goes on and on.
Where do people usually get tripped up on the costs?
Often it's the ongoing cost. They budget for the truck, maybe the first insurance payment, but forget about everything else needed month after month. The source really hammers this. Do your homework, calculate everything, start up recurring monthly costs.
Yeah.
And here's the key tip. Budget for at least 3, maybe even 6 months of operating expenses in reserve. Cash reserve.
Like a cushion.
Exactly. Because payments from customers might lag,
Yeah.
Things happen. That reserve keeps you afloat during those lean times. It prevents a cash flow crisis right out of the gate.
That cushion sounds absolutely vital. Okay, mistake number 4, buying the wrong equipment. I can picture this. Someone gets this huge, impressive rig.
Shiny and new.
Yeah, only to find out most of their work is like local light-duty stuff. That's a lot of wasted money sitting there.
It happens more than you'd think. It really ties back to that business plan, doesn't it? Know your niche. The guide's pretty clear. Don't just buy the biggest or the newest or even the cheapest truck you find.
So what should you do?
Pick equipment that specifically matches the loads you plan to haul and the routes you're going to run. Is it long haul? Regional? Local? What kind of freight? And if you're buying used, get a thorough professional inspection. No cutting corners there. It's about smart spending.
Smart spending, smart money management leads to number 5, poor cash flow management. This one seems tricky because you could be making money, technically.
Right. Profitable on paper.
But if cash isn't actually coming in fast enough, well, fuel bills and payroll don't wait.
Exactly. Profitability isn't the same as liquidity, as having cash on hand. This trips up so many businesses, not just in trucking.
So what are the practical fixes here?
The source suggests a few things. Use good invoicing software to track payments, sure, but also see who's paying slowly. Maybe you adjust terms for them, keep that emergency cash reserve we talked about, and consider things like freight brokers. They find you loads, or factoring companies. Factoring means they buy your invoices, basically, give you cash up front minus a fee. It can really help smooth out those cash flow bumps.
Turning tools into strategy. I like that. Okay, number 6, weak marketing, the old build it and they will come idea.
Yeah, that doesn't really work here, not in a competitive field like trucking. If shippers don't know you exist, your truck sits empty.
So besides just like having a name, what does good marketing look like for a trucking startup?
It's about being proactive. The guide mentions using social media, not just ads, but showing your trucks, your drivers, maybe tips, build some trust. Get listed in directories, both local and industry ones. Have a decent website, simple, works on phones, says what you do clearly, and definitely use load boards. Work with those freight brokers. You got to actively find the work and build those relationships, online and offline.
Relationships.
Yeah.
That's key with customers, but also with your team. Which brings us to mistake number 7. Hiring poorly trained drivers.
Oof, yeah. This is huge.
You can have the best truck, the best plan, but if the driver is unqualified or unreliable, disaster, right? Accidents, delays, fines.
Totally undermines everything. Your reputation, your bottom line. The source really stresses meticulous screening. Check driving records, talk to references thoroughly.
And it's not just hiring, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's ongoing. Provide safety training, do regular performance reviews, make sure your drivers understand the rules, the safety procedures, and your company's standards for professionalism. Good, safe drivers are protecting your whole business.
They really are the face of the company on the road. Okay, number 8 feels less glamorous, but maybe just as damaging. Poor record keeping.
Ah, the paperwork. Or the digital files these days.
Yeah. Losing track of expenses, logs, maintenance records. That sounds like a recipe for chaos. Missed deadlines, IRS problems.
Major headaches. And you don't even know how your business is really doing financially if the records are a mess.
So how do you stay on top of it without drowning in receipts?
System. Need a system from day one. Organize files, digital or physical, for everything.
Yeah.
Income, expenses, fuel, logs, maintenance, everything. And the guide makes a good point. If organization isn't your strong suit.
Get help.
Exactly. Use apps designed for trucking or hire an accountant. Seriously. It's not just about avoiding penalties. It's about knowing your numbers and staying in control.
Control, which relates to number 9, expanding too fast. This sounds counterintuitive, like isn't growth good?
Growth is good, yes, but uncontrolled growth can sink you fast. More trucks might look like more revenue, but it's also way more expense, more complexity.
The source warns against it.
Strongly. It advises slow, deliberate expansion. Before you add another truck, make absolutely sure you have the customer base to keep it busy, reliable drivers ready, solid maintenance plans, and again, that cash reserve buffer.
Grow steady, not broke.
Precisely. That's a quote from the guide. It's better to grow steady than grow broke. Sustainable growth wins long term.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, final mistake, number 10, neglecting customer service.
Ah, yes. Crucial.
Because people remember how you treat them, right? If you're always late or hard to deal with or things get damaged, they just won't call back.
Never underestimate this. It's about professionalism. Every single time you interact with a customer, clear communication is huge. Let them know about ETAs, about any delays, proactively.
If problems happen,
Handle them respectfully, transparently, quickly. Own it. And the guide adds something simple but powerful. Say thank you. Mean it.
simple stuff.
But it builds loyalty. Repeat customers, positive word of mouth. That's described as gold in the source. It's the foundation for a stable, profitable business, much cheaper than constantly finding new clients.
So we've covered the 10 big pitfalls. What really strikes me, listening to all this, is how much it's not just about trucks and logistics. It's about, well, smart business thinking.
You nailed it. That's the core message from the source, really. Running a trucking business isn't just about horsepower. It's about brain power, too. It takes foresight, good planning, knowing your numbers, being proactive about avoiding these mistakes.
Strategy and discipline.
Exactly. That's what separates the businesses that last from the ones that flame out.
And, you know, every single trucking company out there, the huge ones, the local ones everyone relies on, they all started basically where you might be right now, with an idea, a dream.
Maybe one truck.
Right. So just by listening to this, by being aware of these common mistakes, you're already putting yourself on a smarter path. You're already using that brain power.
And maybe that leads to one final thought for you to chew on. We talked about 10 mistakes, right? But think about how many of them, deep down, come from maybe not anticipating things, or maybe being hesitant to ask for help.
Like getting a consultant for the business plan, or compliance, or just an accountant.
Exactly. And a world is getting more complex, not less. What's the real cost of trying to figure everything out completely on your own versus making strategic investments in the right guidance? Something to consider as you map out your own road ahead.
Definitely food for thought. You've got this. Let's roll.